And welcome back to TVS Presents Sport Magazine on Radio. I'm John Daly. This segment is brought to you by IVP Air. They have an air filter to go into schools and buildings that MIT researchers say kills 99.99% of COVID in the air. Go to ivpair.com to learn more. All right, let's talk fall golf. The best place to do it is in the Carolinas. One of the best and most interesting courses is River's Edge in Shallotte, North Carolina. It is on the Myrtle Beach Golf Trail. Sebastian Beecroft is the first assistant pro at River's Edge, and he joins us now. Sebastian, welcome to the show.
John, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yeah, good to have you. Hey, now, are you guys ready for fall golf, even though we're still kind of in that pandemic?
Absolutely. It's we're gearing up very nicely. Even with the pandemic and all the sensitivity around it, it's been a struggle for us. But we have maintained, clean carts, well sanitized, and we're ready to go for fall. It's been a pretty trying year, but my management, my staff, it's been fantastic. We can't complain one bit. We're ready. We're hoping everyone's feeling a little bit better to travel and come to Myrtle Beach for some great fall golf.
Yeah, and I can attest to it. I mean, I live right here, and I can see there's a lot of golfers out there lately. What are the rules as far as riding in a cart or walking? Do you have any specific rules?
Well, so we're back to 2 players per cart. Now we do offer single cart availability upon our availability with the tee sheet. Now we do double tee. For those who aren't aware of what a double tee is, we send off 2 tee times at the same time, from 8 to 10:06 in the morning, and then there's a gap of where everyone's making a turn, and then we have 12:36 to 2:42 in the afternoon. But with the increased sensitivity, some people have ailments that other people don't. So upon availability, we do offer single cart access. And when it comes to walking, River's Edge, we're not a very walkable golf course in the sense of some other private clubs, or up north, it's, tee box, green. So it's here we are allowing walking, again, with the sensitivity. Some people do not want to ride because they're a single pairing up with an outside twosome, and we understand that. So it's a longer walk on the back nine than usual for most golf courses. But with the scenery alone, I mean, you can't beat it. But we are, it's been trying, but, we are offering single card access upon availability, and it's been pretty solid so far. It's running pretty smooth.
All right, we're talking to Sebastian Beecroft. He is the first assistant pro at River's Edge Golf Club in Shallotte, North Carolina. River's Edge is on the Myrtle Beach Golf Trail. You can check them out at myrtlebeachgolftrail.com. All right, let's talk about the course. This is an Arnie Palmer design, and frankly, I think it's one of the most unique courses anyone will play. Talk about the topography. You talked about the scenery. Talk about the topography and why it makes it so different.
Well, so we're nestled in Shallotte, North Carolina. Our golf course is built on the Shallotte River, hence the name River's Edge. It's most courses around here, fairly flat. They don't have the characteristics of the water like we do. We have, holes 15 through 18, and then 5, 8, and 9 are both on the Shallotte River, nestled into the marshes and the Shallotte River, and then number 11, our par 5, we have on Arnold Palmer Lake. So essentially there's about 8 holes that are on the water. And then, of course, we have other interior holes that have some positioned by Mr. Palmer, some hazards and some great features to our course. And when it comes to most of the Myrtle Beach area, it's, our layout is pretty different, rather than the typical low country golf. We have, not a lot of elevation, but, our finishing holes are sit well above 15 feet above the Shallotte River with some nice cliffs and some nice angles into the golf course. And that's the great thing about Palmer is the angles he creates with his layouts.
And the craziest hole is the par 5 ninth hole. It is called Arnie's Revenge. And I have only reached it once in 2. Now, again, a par 5 reaching in 2. Talk about why every golfer should be playing this hole.
Well, it's a test. It's a test to your golf game, a test to your character sometimes. That hole brings a lot of cheer and brings a lot of demise as well. It's, the first time I ever played River's Edge when I first moved to the area in 2011, I was on the green in 2, but unfortunately 3-putted. So that was not a fantastic move. But when it comes to the everyday golfer, it's a challenge that everybody loves and sometimes loves to hate. It's just one of those holes that, sometimes we question Mr. Palmer on what his attitude was when he designed that hole, because most of the time it comes off to as he wasn't a happy camper or just enjoyed the challenge to make all of us feel a little smaller than him. But it's a daunting hole. You have to hit your tee shot into a well-positioned spot. The fairway ends depending. So from our golds and black tees, the tee box is, it's about 310 yards to the end of the fairway, and about the last 75 yards of the fairway is a little downhill. So when it's firm, it's, someone, who hits at 280 can reach that 310 mark and feel good. And then from the white tees and further, it goes from 260 to 214 to the edge of the marsh. So it makes it a little more easier off the tee rather than trying to grip it and rip it with a driver, But the strategy comes into the second shot. So you're hitting over a marsh into a green that's about 14 yards wide, 14 to 16 yards wide. But everyone looks at that 150-yard marker because, hey, it's 100 yards, 120, 130-yard shot to where, it's an easy layup. But then you get to that layup shot for your next shot, and it's, you're looking at a green mostly sloped going right to left in the second fairway into the approach. And it's pretty daunting if you don't try to, creep a little closer. I tell everyone, if you can risk it, hit a 160 to 185-yard shot, you can be anywhere from 60 to 30 yards from that green. It is much easier to hit a little wedge shot into that green than teeing up an 8-iron from 150 or 160 and going from there into that small green.
I got to tell you, it is so narrow. Even if you're hitting like a short wedge, it's still daunting. Plus, you got the wind coming off there, and a lot of times the wind is going to push it right in the direction of that right to left, right off the green, because the green itself is kind of like a peninsula almost, isn't it? Wouldn't you kind of call it that? It's not like Ponte Vedra, but it's kind of just long and narrow like Ponte Vedra.
Yeah. It is long and narrow, and it's from about 70 yards to the end of the green to the back of the green, it's all peninsula. So you got our natural wind, which is playing 9 tee shots into the wind, and then when you get to the second fairway, it's a hard right to left wind. So and then when you're on a lie that the ball's above your feet, it's naturally going to go left with a good swing. So it's a very mental hole in the sense of, am I going to risk it, or do I lay it up to another flip wedge, take my par and run? Mm-hmm. So it has that narrow aspect, which is scary to pretty much the average golfer.
Yeah, it really is. And folks, if you can go get an aerial view of River's Edge, the 9th hole, Arnie's Revenge, and see it, so you'll better understand what Sebastian is talking about. All right, so for a person we've got about 3 minutes left here. So the person who hasn't played River's Edge, what's your golf advice for them if they're coming out here for the first time?
So coming out for the first time River's Edge, it's you look at our course, our sloping rating is a little higher than the average course. It's got a challenge, but it is Palmer, so he does make it fair, in the sense of most. Some don't think. But our course isn't that long, and it's, a little deceptive off the tee where, you don't have to bomb it to conquer the golf course. Like for when I play it, in some of the events we have in here, I hit my driver from the tips, and then, we're 6,900 yards from the backs, but I hit my driver maybe 3 times. So in that sense, it's a 2-iron course all day, whether you're playing the golds, the blacks, the whites, the greens. To have that comfortable yardage of where you're at, with your irons is what I tell people to play, because it is daunting. A lot of marshes, a lot of fairways cut off by streams, and of course you get to the river holes, and it's if you try to risk it, you can bite off too much. It's Palmer's there to get you. So My main go-to when I'm behind the desk in the pro shop is, you don't have to be long to dominate the golf course. The more respect you show it off the tee, the easier the golf course becomes to the player.
Yeah, to me, it's a second shot course. Really what you're going to do getting into the green is more important than anything else.
Yes, absolutely. It's, Palmer creates those, some elevated greens, but not so much because we are in the low country, so we don't have that much rolling hills, fairways. But he did a good job moving some dirt and shaping it. But, if you're in the fairway, getting to the green you still have that little challenge. It is golf. But, if you're in the fairway, the course opens up so much for you.
All right, and it's also just beautiful. It's beautiful scenery. So I advise folks coming down.
You can't beat the river holes, the ambiance.
Absolutely, and of course the weather is usually perfect this time of year as well.
Yeah.
So, all right, Sebastian, we've been talking to Sebastian Beecroft. He's the first assistant pro at Rivers Edge Golf Club in Shallotte, North Carolina. Rivers Edge is on the Myrtle Beach Golf Trail. You can check them out at myrtlebeachgolftrail.com. Sebastian, thanks so much for coming on.
John, thank you so much. Glad to be here.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Be sure to enjoy the TBS Sports Network, a 24/7 streaming channel that features 60 years of classic and current TBS sports. The World Football League, NASCAR, NASL soccer with Pele, college basketball, major college football bowl game. They're all on the TBS Sports Network. Watch free at tbstvnetworks.com. When we come back, we go back to Vegas for my man, Boychik, Eric Snyder.
The TBS Television Network, for decades your home for great sports TV, is back. You can watch 6 TBS sports channels now streaming on watchyour.tv. It's free and it's on the internet as well as on Roku, Android, and iPhone and iPad apps. Watch TBS Sports Network, TBS Classic Sports Network, TBS Turbo Sports Network, TBS Women's Sports Network, TBS Tavern Sports Network, and TBS Boxing Network. That's TBS Television Network. 6 free channels at watchyour.tv.